Hello.
Hello.
Right.
It's another meeting.
Yes. And today is a little bit different.
Yes, we're recording on a Thursday instead
Yeah.
of a Tuesday.
Yeah. So our news will be less outdated.
Oh, it will still be out. It will be even more outdated
Well, part of it will be.
because we'll be talking about the news that has already happened on like Wednesday, but instead of reporting it on like Tuesday, week after reporting on Thursday after the week, so the news is even older.
Yeah.
So
Um.
it's gonna be more and less outdated than usual.
Yeah. But the reason for that is because yesterday we both had a talk where
Yes,
we finished our internship.
presentation, if you may.
Yeah, and I realized, by the way, afterwards, like today, that there was really no point in waiting for this, because like all we can really say about it is like, hey, we finished our internships.
Yeah, but it does also mean that because we finished our internships and we finished everything that we needed to do, that we now basically graduated.
Yeah,
Of course, some people still have to look at it to see if the reports we turned in are actually reports.
yeah,
Not like, here, I have a blank PDF file and it says it's my report. The size matches, but it's just the letter A.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay,
just to
apparently,
prevent that from happening.
uh, the amount of programs I have opened make this game lag a little bit, but that's fine. Um, but yeah, that's really all we can say about that. So there's really like no.
Well, I mean, it is graduating, so at some point we
Yeah.
will actually. So we technically we are actual engineers now.
Well, we don't have our thing yet.
I'm still gonna say that technically we are engineers now.
Yeah, fair.
So we get to do our own dumb designs now.
True.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna work on a bed idea.
But anyway, on to the news. So I have something very funny and very disappointing.
Bring it.
Okay. So we've talked about our prime minister before on this podcast, right?
Yes. By the way, that video got restricted
Yeah, you can't
in the
watch it. You can't
Netherlands.
watch it in the Netherlands.
Hmm.
But um so currently they're talking about the what do I even call this in English? The nota, the spring nota, which it basically what it is, or what it's supposed to be, is
Mm-hmm.
that the government they talk about where their money is gonna go, right, and where it's gonna come from for this year.
Yes.
Um, However, this year was a little bit different. So that was supposed to be done on Wednesday, which is currently yesterday. That's the day of recording. And normally, that takes quite a while to talk all that through. This time, it took so long that they had barely started last week. In fact, on Sunday, they did not even know how much money they had to play with. That's not the stupidest part of what I'm about to say. Because normally, the prime minister is supposed to reveal how much money they got to work with.
Yes.
So when
Makes
they
sense.
put in on Sunday, they were gonna talk about it on Sunday, which is already unusual. Normally they are not there on Sunday. And the
religious
and
reasons.
and the prime minister wasn't there. You want to guess where he was?
Or where was the Dutch prime minister when he was supposed to talk about money?
He was watching a marathon.
Somehow disappointed but not surprised. Yeah. That is just peak Dutch politics at this point.
Yeah.
Did you know that I actually kept a list this time with things to talk about?
Yeah, well, it's not completely done yet because now, it's been Wednesday. They finished, and by finished, I mean they talked about everything except for the most important parts of it.
Of course,
And they're
what do you
like,
expect
nah,
from
we'll
the Dutch
talk about
government?
that later.
Yeah, what did you expect from the Dutch government? Competence? Because good luck.
Well, I was hoping for it. Oh, I
As
could
I
have
said,
I
the
could have
Dutch
knifed him.
government
I'm
plus
stupid. I could have knifed him.
plus competence
Yeah,
is
well,
non-existent.
yeah, currently kind of is. But yeah.
As previously stated, we have a Prime Minister for Migration. Prime Minister for Migration that says that migration is not within her job description.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. Um, but yeah, that was the thing. Another thing I read that actually kind of surprised me. Apparently less and less people in the Netherlands are religious. And the
Why does that
reason
surprise you?
the reason that surprises me is because in the world overall, more and more people are becoming religious.
Hmm.
And I'm not
Then
like
then it is indeed
I
a
don't
bit of a
think
surprise.
like I don't think that's weird at all. Like I think it makes sense. I'm just surprised that here in the Netherlands it's not because apparently people are not all that happy here in the Netherlands currently. Like people our age and a bit younger, they are like apparently it's not going all that well mentally. I blame social
Oh,
media, and I blame social media because the experts blame social media.
not just social media; it's also just general.
Yeah, but the fact that you can get information throughout the day, like 24 hours a day, from all over the world about war
Yeah.
and
So
shit,
yeah.
it doesn't help with mental health. It's one of the reasons I don't have any social media because the other reason is I just never saw the fun of it. I've tried most of them, and
Reddit,
does Reddit count?
memes.
I
Reddit
occasionally
is
check
social
Reddit,
media.
I guess.
It is social media.
I occasionally check Reddit, and even then, I don't really check the news site. I just look at bullshit.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people use Reddit for explicit images. And then I come along and I just use it for memes and pictures of rabbits. Why not? I mean, that's the thing with rabbits as well. Or bunnies, rabbits, they're kind of the same thing. I have looked it up. It doesn't really matter
I know.
which you use, but it's basic. Like a lot of people think, oh, a pet, either a dog or a cat, right? That's the first thing they think of when thinking about a pet.
Yeah.
But a bunny can have a lot of personality.
I know.
I mean, I've legit today because I clean my rabbit's toilet daily because otherwise you can get insects in there and they will wreak havoc on your bun's health,
Yeah.
which you don't want to because they can also be quite fragile if you don't treat them right. But I was cleaning the toilet as usual, and Bun was roaming through our garden. Usually, he's in his cage, basically kind of house thing, during the night, or if nobody's home, just to make sure that he doesn't escape. But if
Mm-hmm.
somebody's home, you can basically roam through our garden. And I just decided to sit by and pet him a bit, and eventually just on my knees, just hovering over, just cuddling, and he even comes up to me if I just walk around. Like cats do that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have cats that just walk around following you, being obnoxious. But buns apparently do that as well. Only with buns, it can be a little bit more annoying or just cute because, well, they might look like they want to kill you, but what are they gonna do? Like the moment I pet him, he's just going compact. It almost starts to loaf.
You know that scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail where they get attacked by a rabbit?
Not really, no.
Okay, well, there's a scene there where they hear that there's like a monster, and it's just a rabbit, and they all start laughing, and then the rabbits start massacring all of them. Um, I recently watched a thing about how historical was that actually how historical is that movie, and it's more historical than you would think from a Monty Python movie.
More
In
historical than you think from Monty Python. Seems to be correct.
including the rabbit. That's real. Well, real.
But you,
There is actual artwork from the medieval period depicting rabbits with weapons, like dueling each other, killing people. We don't know why. Like maybe it was just a joke, maybe it was like a myth or folklore or something. We have no idea. But there's a lot of artwork about it.
well, did you not think rabbits would be? Did you think rabbits would be peaceful? Have you seen how they can look at you?
Yeah, I know.
Apparently, especially there's an entire subreddit called r/murder buns, which is just a bunch of bunnies looking angry. But yeah, but I made a list of things that dates back from like last week, so I actually know what I want to talk about this time.
Oh, that's nice.
And on the top of the list is the Dutch army, which last week,
Oh yeah.
basically I was like, is there like we need to grow?
Mm-hmm.
And here in the Netherlands, technically, it is kind of you still need to go and get into the army, but they kind of thought like, well, there is no war here, so we still keep it, but instead of having the entire people going into the need to go into the army bit, they just removed the request bit. So you can
Yeah.
so right now, if necessary, they're basically say, all right, right now we're gonna start calling people to go into the army again, and do stuff. I would almost find it funny if that were to happen and I were to get a call.
Yeah, yeah.
Because for me, my right arm is a bit fucked from being stuck at birth. Means that if I were to arrive there, like you probably would have to first go through a medical check. First medical check I arrive at, I hope I have to go there because then I can be just sent back.
Mm-hmm.
Like the doctor just takes one look at me like to my medical files, like, why are you here? What's the point of being in this location as you're clearly not fit to?
Well, maybe your
Right.
arm is perfectly shaped to hold the gun.
No.
Hey,
It's like when
apparently,
I've tried laser
apparently
tag,
they're
it did
letting
not go well.
everybody who wants in now.
Everybody who wants. Yeah, not me. Like everybody who wants. Yeah, I don't wanna. Thank you. I would like to stay alive to begin with. And also, even if we were to go into the army, you'll probably either need a like VR type thing or like drone operators from a long distance.
I have no
Or they
idea.
need technical people, and they're going to say like, all right, well, you're going to work here. You're just going to be stuffed into an office. you're gonna get a budget and a project to design and go. They might pull that stunt.
Maybe.
That would just be an office job that we would be getting. And who? I mean, it's another office job. I don't really see that as a problem. As long as I get paid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It
fair
kind of
enough.
shows where my priorities are. Just, do I get paid? Yes or no? And apparently
Fair
that
enough.
decides if I'm gonna work somewhere or not. Just, do I get paid enough here, or am I just gonna be bullshit at it the entire time? But yeah, basically that's the situation with the Dutch army, considering, you know, the entire conflict within Ukraine as well.
Yeah.
Which I've been following, and it is kind of starting to really turn into a mess. Because on one hand you have support from the United States kind of going away for Ukraine, which can
Mm-hmm.
result in a big problem. But on the other side, you also have Russia running out of tanks. So it's kind of like the war of attrition is not really, well, it is really attritioning. Like it is just wearing both parties out. The problem is Russia doesn't have the support of Europe, and Germany exists. Germany does a lot with steel. They're industrial people. So they do what the Germans do best, apparently. Make armored vehicles. And yeah,
Yeah.
that is basically what kind of has been happening around these days. Nothing really special, just nothing really special, just war. Whoops.
I don't know. Was there anything else?
Well, I can continue with my list. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
like the next thing on my list is literally the price of Easter eggs. You know, those
What?
chocolate eggs. The price is absurd.
I wouldn't
You're
know.
not paying like $5 to $10 for a small bag. That is just like, I know that there's a joke going around that the US has to pay a lot for eggs now. I didn't think we would be paying a lot for eggs as well. It is actually crazy how much the price has gone up. In my opinion, it's not okay how much it has shot up just for like probably like 100 grams of chocolate.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that is not up to you.
No, so I'll just be waiting till Easter's passed and then see if there are any on sale and buy those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm smart enough to do that, you know?
Are you?
Well, I'm either not going to buy them at all, or I'm going to buy them on sale, because why would I not buy them on sale?
Yeah.
Same, like with every holiday, just like Christmas as well. Just wait for the event to go by, and then go shopping, because then everything's on sale.
Yeah.
Because, well, nobody wants it anymore. It's at the point where nobody wants it because, well, it's kind of done. It's the event is over, so why keep it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
What?
I have this app where you can save food from being thrown away.
Oh yeah.
But what that also means, right, is there's probably going to be like those bags for just like Easter with a lot of chocolate in it, and I could probably get for like $5 or $10, but it's gonna be like worth 15 to 30.
Hmm.
I can basically get things for 1/3 of the price,
Yes.
and that's quite cheap.
I did something
I'm always so
I've
full.
never done today, actually.
What did he do?
When I was buying me salad, I actually got sushi for tomorrow because it's the final day of internship, so I was like, yeah, sure. And I actually checked the date on it, and I'm very happy I did, because it was about to expire today, but I wanted to eat it tomorrow. And normally, with a lot of things, I'd be like, yeah, no, I could still eat that tomorrow. But with fish, I'm not sure on that. I'm not taking that chance.
There are already some Easter like packages you can actually get delivered. I can get a 42 € box with like 6 Easter bunnies filled with like chocolate, like those Easter eggs. Instead of 42, I would pay 20. You can get over 50% off on just a bunch of chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Also, no. There's one with milk, with 20 half-liter bottles of milk, of things that are about to expire. And look, I'm willing to, if things are like 1 or 2 days out of date, I'm willing to still try. You know, just you smell, you maybe a little taste, you look. But
Oh my god.
milk is one of those very few things I will not like. If it's past its expiry date, I ain't drinking it.
Yeah.
I'm first gonna be pouring it out entirely because I ain't drinking expired milk.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna drink lumps of milk.
Fair.
But it's like 20 half-liter bottles, so you get 10 liters of milk.
Yeah.
That's foul. It's just, ugh. Like milk can be good, but I don't trust if it's expired, and neither should you. If the
I
milk is
know.
expired, just throw it out. For anybody watching this, take that advice and actually do it. Otherwise, you're gonna suffer from either food poisoning, diarrhea, or worse. And if you do, don't say you cannot tell me I didn't warn you, because I did.
Alright.
And imagine getting comments like,
I'm gonna risk it.
I got sick from milk. It's your fault. It would be funny because then I can actually say, well, I did warn you. I did warn you. 24 minutes.
Yes.
Like on the second correct.
Comment below if you've been poisoned by milk before.
That's actually a good question. Also, how you got poisoned? How do you get poisoned by milk? As I said,
Oh, if it's expired.
You look, you smell, you maybe taste a little bit, and then you decide, this stuff is nasty. I ain't doing this. And then you don't drink it, and you're done. It's called common sense, which apparently not a lot of people have. Look at the United States. They are like legit. The United States is kind of turning into a 1940s Germany at this point. With Trump literally saying, and these are his words, that after they've deported all the immigrants, they're going to go for the homegrowns as well.
Okay.
So basically, you can be born in the United States, but if you don't look like probably the most stereotypical white person, you will still be deported
Huh.
to another country.
I didn't see that. I did see that he was bragging that like world leaders are like licking his ass for a deal because of the tariffs. And if you think that those are my words, then no. Those are his words.
Yes.
What the fuck?
And also, you know where he's sending most of the people? To a prison in El Salvador. If they get deported. The worst part is, they've actually said that that prison will never fill up to full. Which indicates something threatening.
Is it Guantanamo Bay?
Not sure, but if they're saying that the prison will never get to full capacity, even though they're they're going to be deporting a lot of people. That results in something slightly concerning. That's why I'm saying it's resembling 1940s Germany. Which, not good. Like, during that period of time, we didn't know what was happening because there wasn't like social media and everything. But right now, it is known, it is global, everybody knows it's happening. And yet, nobody's doing anything. And I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't know where to start with that kind of thing. But I'm guessing if we can get enough people together, then we would be able to come up with something.
Can you fire the president? Like if most people agree that he should
wasn't
go.
That called impeachment?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Is that a thing?
Well, he has already been impeached twice, so I don't think that's working.
Can we do it in here in the Netherlands? Like,
I don't think we can.
Can we tell Dick to fuck off?
But... I mean,
he can go run his fucking marathon. I don't give a shit anymore.
Go run the marathon. Do it. Well, if you're going to run a marathon, yeah, I guess, but...
No, he didn't run it. He didn't run the marathon. He came to look because like a friend of his was there.
So because of a friend, you're abandoning your duties as a prime minister of a country. How Dutch of him. Just abandon your entire country because I gotta watch my friend.
Unfortunate. Oh, wait, am I dead?
Also, there was a funny news article I read recently about the Coast Guard actually doing a full emergency response for a boat that seemed to be in distress. But turns out there was nobody in distress.
Yeah.
It were just three dudes having a barbecue on a boat. And if the Coast Guard like went out with a helicopter, a boat, like they went all out for this. Only to realize that it was just barbecue.
Okay, there was actually another thing with a boat. Someone...
Boat news.
Yeah. uh, I don't know the full situation. Basically, somebody didn't want their, like, wife or girlfriend or whatever to go travel. Like, you know, he wanted her to stay. And
Yeah.
so he did a fake bomb report on the cruise ship she was gonna use. Like, she was gonna go on.
But you know what that means, right? Chill time.
Probably. I don't know.
Because, well, like a bomb report has to be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't take it seriously, there's a great chance that people will die.
Yeah.
So you're basically throwing that problem in there already. And yeah, then you're gonna put that in. It's on a cruise ship as well, so that'll be even more trouble.
Yeah.
I wonder when he realized he fucked up.
I
Like,
don't
did he
know.
realize that it was after he made the call? Like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Or was he like, this will be fine. I'm sure it will be fine.
No idea.
And then they realized that it's because first of all, you are not allowed to abuse emergency services like that. So you would have that charge already for wasting their resources. Because obviously you're not allowed to waste those. They are critical.
Mm-hmm.
Same with it's same with ambulances. You're not allowed to waste the ambulance time because let's say you're doing nothing basically and you call an ambulance because well you need the ambulance all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
But while they're busy with you, they don't really have enough ambulance and they're getting another call that they have to go to basically get to a person that's having a heart attack. But because they're busy with you when you have kind of nothing or very light pain, somebody with a heart attack could pass away because of the lack of ambulances. That's a pretty good reason why not to waste emergency services time
Yeah.
and money, because the taxpayer's paying for it at the end. So
Yes,
you want your
here
money
in
to
the
go to waste on
Netherlands
other
we
people.
do.
Well, I think everywhere you pay taxes.
Well, yeah, but we pay. But in America, you don't pay taxes to pay hospitals. Like, you gotta pay your own services. Like,
Yeah, you're gonna pay your own. Well, you're gonna have to get your own insurance, which is of
yeah.
course is gonna pay out anything at all, because well, American insurance is just that weird. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they get into that hot mess of U.S. insurance companies, which are just trying to get as much money out of you as possible. It's the basic job of an insurance company, honestly. Just try and get money out of you, so that when you actually need help, they can deny your healthcare.
Yeah.
And that's how you end up with one less CEO. I think that trial is actually still going on.
I don't know.
And I think that we're actually talking about giving him the death penalty, which I find absurd. Because, well, it is just one very rich dude that denied many people life-saving care. If you put it that way, it doesn't sound all that good now, does it? Hmm? Hold on, it took half an hour to get political. We should actually time it.
The first thing I mentioned were Dutch politics.
Oh yeah, so it took us less. Oh well. Once again, we should really time it.
Perhaps.
Imagine how funny it would
God
be.
damn it. Oh. Yeah.
You think you would lose?
Yeah, I miscounted. See, that's the thing. I'm talking, and so it becomes harder to
You're
do
talking,
the
it becomes
bullets.
harder.
Yes.
Sure.
Anyway, anything else that happened?
So let me.
I don't know. I think most of it this week was about the Dutch, like the money stuff.
Let me take a look. Let's see. Yep, money stuff as well. And the municipality of Amsterdam is concerned about King's Day, which is a Dutch tradition. On the birthday of the king, you kind of celebration. You sell stuff.
Oh,
You just have like what you can do is you can just you can just put your stuff down in the designated areas, of course, which is city centers, and you can just sell your stuff.
actually, there is another thing. The NATO meeting is gonna happen here in the Netherlands, and and it's gonna be in The Hague, and it's actually somewhat close to where my aunt lives, and a street in The Hague is gonna be completely inaccessible to everyone. And that street is a pretty important one, because if you go to The Hague, most likely you're gonna go through that street. And now you can't. So, yeah.
You won't be able to go through an entire street
Yes.
and not for like a short amount of time either.
Yeah, it's
a full 4 months.
4 months. The meeting is gonna be, I don't know exactly when, but it's gonna be 4 months of that. I don't even know why it's that long, but regardless,
that's what she said.
regardless, so that's gonna close. But not only that, half of the Dutch police force is gonna be there.
Yeah.
So, how much is the whole banning fireworks actually gonna matter?
Probably not at all.
Like, yeah.
Let's see if there's more news.
So if the next episode is recorded from jail, we thought we could, okay? We thought we could.
If it's just me talking, then you know shit hit the fan.
No, I'll sneak my laptop into there. It'll be fine. And my hard drive.
How? Where are you gonna put it?
In my pillow.
I don't think you can shove an entire laptop up your ass.
No, in my pillow.
You're not a video game character where you just pull everything out of your ass and you just
No,
have, like,
I'll put it in my pillow.
80 wheels of cheese.
I'll put it in my pillow.
Yes, but my mind just went to, well, many games you just literally pull things out of your ass.
Yes.
Imagine 80 wheels of cheese.
Like how Dante pulls a motorcycle out of his ass to saw demons somehow. Or how Minecraft Steve rips 64 doors plus
Yeah, but
backup.
Also, a slight sad but funny thing. There was a news that there are 2 years in a row less traffic deaths. This is good, but the next news article was a fatal traffic accident somewhere. So first you have an article saying there are less fatalities with traffic accidents that happen in traffic. And underneath that, you're going to put an article that's talking about a death that happened within traffic.
Yes. Sure, it's for the shock value.
Sure.
You're in content creation. You know how important it is.
Well, I mean, content creation. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, honestly. Yeah. Let's see, do we have more? Yeah. Apparently, people are excited for stuff like people are supporting like climate, like to fight climate change.
Yeah.
But they just don't trust the government.
Well, that's one of the things that they actually skipped over right now.
What? The lack of trust in the government?
No, the climate. Like, with the whole, like, the begroting, like, the...
Oh yeah. They've kind of like, oh yeah, we're just gonna put climate change on. Like climate change will wait for us.
In fact, one of the, like, the PVD woman, I forget her name, like... She always has like these massive eyes for some reason. Like she just, what's her name? Yasilgus. She a journalist asked her like, "What about climate?" And she just went, "Climate?" As if she didn't even know what it was.
Climate? What is that? Climate change doesn't exist apparently. So the change in weather just came out of nowhere.
So here's the problem.
The fact that the Netherlands has been basically dry since February.
Well, that.
Like we're only.
But that's
just
not what I
getting
mean.
rain.
I mean the problem we have here in the Netherlands with that, and that is that they all say like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do stuff about it," and then they say we're gonna do this and that, and that's gonna work then, in like 10 years.
Yeah.
And that means that then they don't have to do anything right now.
And they're just gonna keep postponing it until we burn up from like all the climate change that has been happening. So apparently we're just kind of, with this current government, we're kind of doomed to die by climate change. Just
Maybe.
totally not concerning at all. Like, totally not concerning that the fact that we had we didn't have rain for over a month. And everything was just drying out.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently that doesn't matter. Because apparently climate change isn't real. Which is... I mean... Like, if you deny climate change, you're basically denying the weather over the last couple of years. Because if you can explain the weather over the last years, then then I can understand, but nobody really can without saying climate change. But yeah, that's basically the news from today. Then we have news from yesterday, if we want that as well, which is having no change at all. Apart from, I don't know. Apparently there was apparently Spotify was down.
Was it?
Apparently.
Oh.
That was yesterday. That was yesterday, so there's nothing to worry about now.
Sure.
Let's see, what else do we have?
Oh, I'm dumb.
Yeah, nothing really.
Well, apparently the Devil May Cry anime is getting a season 2. I mean, we talked about that last time, so might as well mention it.
I mean, I guess.
I hope they improve. I hope they make it faster paced. I hope Dante gets more spotlight. If they fix that, then I can be fine with it.
You know what? It's also funny. We're now done with our internship.
Yes.
And it is just a massive relief that we're finally done. Because honestly, these last months, like I already knew they would be difficult. It wouldn't be easy, but now I understand why having a travel time of over half an hour to 45 minutes is not the best thing to have. Like, I traveled basically an hour to an hour from my internship, and that takes a toll on your mental health because you're going to be traveling for 2 hours a day and working 8 hours a day, so technically that means you're going to be gone for 10 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And that can result in a problem. Yeah. That it is. It feels weird to be done with school.
A little bit, yeah.
Because usually we're used to like, yeah, you did a little bit of school, but there's gonna be more.
Yeah. Yeah, people, we're getting old. I'm gonna update my avatar to have gray hair.
If you actually get gray hair, then do it. Because as far as I know, you don't have gray hair unless you started to dye your hair.
In 60 years, we still have this podcast. I will add gray hair to my avatar.
Yes.
Which at that point will probably, if we even still have it, which is somewhat unlikely to be fair, but if that's the case, it would probably look very different.
Yes. But honestly, I wouldn't mind having the podcast go on for that long.
Oh, I mean either, but it's just unlikely, you know?
Yeah, because it would be 6 years of us doing basically weekly news.
There will be
Having,
moments where we maybe don't have time.
you can always make time. It's like only a couple hours. You can easily make time.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we can easily just take a couple hours after like dinner and everything, and just, or even an even better idea.
Yeah, but if one of us is like out for a week.
I have a better idea. And it all hinges on, because right now we live in two different places. That means we have to do it. That means that communication is a little bit more difficult than in person. But what if it wasn't?
I mean, I'm down to have you as a roommate. I need someone to take care of me anyway.
You expect me to do it?
Good point. Good point.
You think I'm responsible?
Well, you know.
I bought 15 signal lamps from trains, like from railroad tracks. That also include 21 variable resistors.
Yeah. I'm considering spending 50 euros on getting Sekiro for my PlayStation, even though I already have it on PC.
That's just a dumb decision.
Yeah, that's why I think I'm not gonna I'm gonna wait for a discount. I think. Because I would like to have a physical copy of Sekiro because I love the game, but 70? Why? Why is it more expensive on PlayStation than it is on other platforms? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably gonna have to spend 50 bucks on new wireless headphones because I lost the case today. Which means that as long as there's charge in there, I can listen, I can use them. But as soon as the charge runs out, they're done. I have no way to recharge them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of annoying that I lost them, but at the same
Yeah.
time, that kind of worst part is it didn't even happen like the train or at the bakery I was to get like some sweets for saying goodbye, because that is tradition apparently. Like if you're done with your internship, you just bring some like cakes or some other stuff with you or a pie, just kind of give to people.
Yeah.
Which is a good tradition in my opinion. And I even heard a story from one of the people that worked somewhere else before, that if somebody had a birthday, the entire company would get cake. But the company grew, and apparently they kind of started to get rid of that once you had like 80 people working at a company.
Dude.
So 80 people, and if one of them has a birthday, all 80 get pie or get like stuff.
The teacher mentioned during my, my presentation, for the ending of the intern.
Yeah.
He mentioned that for some students, they had to do it for the entire company.
Like the presentation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to just do it only for the boss and for him, like.
Same.
I kind of expected, like, Niels to also be there, because I kind of spend more time with him than I do with the boss, but...
I guess. I mean, I had to kind of change, like officially change who was guiding me.
Oh.
Purely because the one that was officially guiding me, like name was on the papers, but it was the old like CEO or director that went away.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant there was no money, or not money. It was not here anymore, so we were not, So I did not have anybody to kind of, yeah, show my stuff to, apart from the person that was helping me with the entire project. So he then became my, I guess, my go-to person, and I had my presentation. So I did my presentation. I was busy for 40 fucking minutes. That's a long presentation in my books. And then after that, the most nerve-wracking moments came, because you do first do your presentation, and after that they kind of they ask you to step out of the room, because what they want you to do, and at that point, is you get out of the room so they can talk to each other about stuff, about what they thought of it, and how they wanted stuff to be, right?
Yeah.
How, like, they each go over their own report, their own kind of thoughts, and then see, all right, what went well, what went wrong, and then they decide what happens. So I was nervous that entire day. My presentation was at 2 in the afternoon, so I was getting nervous throughout the day. You get more and more nervous over time, of course. But then in my presentation, I was nervous. Then after I was done, I started to calm down while I was waiting. And as soon as they called me back in, I was getting nervous again. Like, it was just an instant, like, oh, now it's time to get nervous again. Which I was fully preparing for failure at that point. Like, I was thinking, like, oh, I guess I should probably already looked at other companies. Like, I'm probably gonna fail this, so I guess I'll just look at other companies already, so that if they fail me, I can then say, all right, well, I'm gonna go for another company already. Bye. Glad I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would have been a bit of a disaster, and I would have probably cried if I were to fail. But
I think we're running out of topics.
oh, I have one more topic that's probably gonna take a
Okay.
long time. And
Okay.
that is, it has to do with trauma, because I kind of want to talk about it on here, because apparently me and a family member, which I'm not going to name, because, well, for that you're going to have to go to my Twitch.
You've talked about
which you can
this.
follow.
You've already talked
Yeah, but
about
I'm
the
talking about,
situation on there.
yeah, but I'm more talking about, like, the discovery of the trauma. Like, a couple years ago, I didn't really know I had any trauma at all. But recently, I've discovered that I fucking jump every time my door opens. Like, you start figuring out those small little bits of, like, apparently that I react to that. Oh, I react to that now. And it only happens after you're out of the situation. If you're still in the situation, it doesn't really, you don't notice it if you only know that situation.
Yeah.
Like having a parent which, for example, which is not that good. Once that parent leaves, then you realize, whoa. But it's not immediate, it takes a couple of months. Which kind of messes you up even more. Which surprised me a lot. And as I said, once it happens, you've kind of fallen into this hole. I don't want to say depression, but it's adjacent to that. Like, kind of like, well, I guess I react to anything, basically anything. What do I do now?
No, like being jumpy can be part of an actual trauma thing.
Yes. Like, this is a real life example. my dad, and I guess that's why I jumped from doors. Like my dad would not knock at all. He would run. Goes fast on stairs. So that let's say I wasn't doing my homework because I was already done, and I heard my dad run up the stairs. He would enter my room without knocking, by the way, because apparently he didn't do that ever, which is another bad sign. Because my mom does knock. But apart from that, you also just have the like my dad walks in, and if you weren't doing schoolwork, homework, or any other thing, that would apparently be wrong because we need to do our homework 24/7. So, well, first of all, you also master the art of looking busy. Because if you look busy, you are busy to other people, which is not a good skill because I can look busy for an entire day, and then when you ask me what I've done, then you realize that I haven't been doing shit all day. But yet, you might think like, oh, I'm gonna get out of this place that is bad. And you should. If conditions are not good, leave. If possible, of course. And if not, work towards that possibility. And then you've left the situation. Then it's kind of a whole another thing of discovering being independent or having a life. And realizing that you can make your own decisions. Like you can just say, fuck it, I'm bidding on train seats now. You can just do that.
Yeah.
You then realize you are not entirely dependent on confirmation of other people, which does take some getting used to. And again, the trauma takes some getting used to as well. Like, oh, I react to that, and then you can start once you realized how, what, when, why, what if, and everything like that. Then you can start working on it, and you start getting actually better. Yeah, basically, if you're in a bad situation, try to get out of it. If at all possible, of course. Not everybody has the possibility. With the main factor being money, because money is, even though people say money isn't everything, it often is.
Well,
jobs.
If we're gonna
money
talk about trauma, then there is something I do need to bring up, because I have done a lot of research into trauma over the past couple weeks, because I've been writing a lot, and I'm planning to do this whole story at some point with trauma as a pretty big focus, and I've just been writing, experimenting for that, and so I did a lot of research into it as well, and also into how therapy actually works, but mostly into the responses. And
Yes.
one of the things that I have written about, and you know this, is emotional manipulation.
Yes.
And basically, you say, if you're in a bad situation, then get out of it. But not all people know that they are.
That's a thing as well. Yeah, you have a good point.
Because that's what I've been exploring here with that particular part of it. It's the emotional manipulation. The way I wrote that, and I've done research into this. This is a thing. The girl who's being manipulated doesn't realize really until she's not happy, but it's she doesn't know how to she doesn't realize why, right? And only when she's free, basically, when she when the manipulator is gone, does she actually realize what she's been through.
That's pretty much Like, what you're just describing is pretty much my story as well.
Yeah, that's what I was
Like-
afraid of.
Yeah, if you're in a situation where you don't know you're in a situation like that, and then you get out of it, then that's you discover your trauma. Like, oh, you're jumpy at doors opening with a certain sound. You react when people start shouting and everything. Like, if you ever see like some people starting to shout at others, and you look around, and you're in a little bit of a crowd, and you look around and see a couple of people reacting to that, then it's probably trauma.
Mm-hmm.
If you hear people shouting and you look around and suddenly you see a couple of people being stressed, then that is a pretty good indicator. I mean, you're like, first you don't know in the situation, you discover your trauma, then you get into that hole of, oh shit, I've been in that situation to begin with. That's when that kind of hits, and it is kind of a shame that I found that out during my internship, because yeah, that's part of the reason why I realized that the last couple of months, like the entire year basically, wasn't going to be easy. Because you realize the situation you are in, you realize you're recovering from that, but then you also have to realize that the world is not going to give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless you have a good job, unless you already have a job and and they have experience with that, or they have good policies for it, then yes. But speak from experience, you don't really want to tell everybody.
I mean,
Of course, now I'm saying it to basically the entire internet, which,
therapy, sure.
yes, but it costs money. And they will circle back to the point, sometimes money is everything.
So you're an
It's like, I want
engineer.
to do this, I want to do that.
You'll get
Yes,
money.
but I don't have a job yet, and I want to have a couple of months to kind of recharge. Kind of, first of all, enjoy free time, because I have realized with a 9-to-5 job that you basically get no free time anymore. Like, during the day, you basically have no free time. That's why, like, especially like here in the Netherlands, we have 3 levels of like actual studies, like with courses. The lowest one gives you kind of the least amount of freedom. Like, you actually have like school stuff to do. In other words, and as soon as you go to the higher levels, do you realize that you're kind of being left around, like, oh yeah, this needs to be done around these dates. Good luck. Like, we actually got like entire plan, entire schedule to kind of fix stuff. Kind of like, this has to be done at that time, this has to be done at that time. All fun and games. But if you have friends that are like in a university, they will be out and about a lot more than you will be. But I guess you'll also be experiencing way less stress, because like I have family as a that is kind of as university, I think it is, but it is a lot of stress, because well, you do have to do a lot of stuff on your own, independent, which is not for everybody.
Yeah.
It might not be for you, Jim. Doing it
No.
entirely independent of like.
No.
But then again, it's not something for me either. So you're kind of with that situation of how much guidance do you want/need.
But like also, like I don't really have anything that I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go to university for that. Like, there's some of my interests are definitely there at university, but that's the thing. They're interests. I don't need them as my job, so I'll just, read into that on my own.
which also gives you a lot more freedom and no time limit, because schools
Yeah.
tend to give time limits on everything. Like, oh, it has to be done within this time frame, which makes sense in in like a work environment that there are time limits to everything, because that's just how companies work.
Mm-hmm.
People expect results eventually. But if you're doing it as a hobby, then nobody's gonna care if you're gonna be done a little bit later. It's a hobby specifically aimed for you, so
Yeah.
nobody's going to care.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, that's what bummed me out the most with having to basically do a full-time internship, is just a severe lack of being able to go out or
Yeah.
just do stuff with friends, because friends are busy. Friends have free time. You don't, because you're stuck at a company for 8 hours a day. And honestly, I didn't do it. I spend most of the time on my phone.
That's not.
It's not the best, I
That's
know.
not good, Joe. That's not.
I know, but honestly, I didn't really have a lot to do. Like, yes, I had some stuff to do, but I pretty much did the project. Like, the main question for my project was, is a design made of steel cheaper than one made from aluminium? I did that. I concluded, yes, it was cheaper, because steel is better for that. It's offshore, so it's better to use steel, because corrosion and money and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I was pretty much done with that halfway through. It was just the designing bit that took longer, like the drawing. Like today, I arrived on
Yeah.
time. Well, later on time, because I first went to go through a bakery to get stuff to give. And well, first of all, my train was delayed. That was annoying. It was delayed at one station, and because it went to single track after the next station, I had to wait there as well,
Mm-hmm.
because the train from the other side was already coming, so we couldn't go in front. We had to go behind. Usually there's a
Mm-hmm.
station in the middle where you meet up, but it couldn't because that train has already departed. So it was later already. Then I went to the bakery and everything. I walked to the company, realized I lost my earphone case. Called the bakery to see if it was there. Wasn't there. Then did like a couple hours of work. Like, all I did was you had like a pilot floats. It's like a cylinder, but the bottom was flat, which we didn't want, because a flat bottom and a wave can kind of push that in and then leak, and then your construction sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Suboptimal.
Yeah.
So there are. So I could, like, ask the guy that helped me with the project, like, is there any more work I can do for the next 2 days, just so I can set up my time? They didn't really have, so I did the bottom part of those floats, and I got a name, and then I looked that name up, and thankfully, the good thing with engineering, I got a standard. One of the best things you can have in engineering is you look things up. You look one thing up, and like a couple links down, it gives you a specific
Yeah.
standard, which you look up that standard. Then the worst case scenario, you don't find anything about it, or you have to buy it for $300,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
I found a PDF file online. I opened it. I looked through it. I didn't see the dimensions, but it did see calculations. So based on those calculations, I designed the bottom to have a little more of a curve to it, so it doesn't immediately bend in. And then it was time to put it underneath there, and then it was kind of done within 2 hours. And after doing that, they basically said, well, we're gonna have the sweets that you brought with you, and after that, I guess you can just go home. We don't really have work for you anymore, so just go. And then I walked home, and I was home before lunch.
Nice.
I think I spent an equal time traveling as being at the company today. Like 1 hour to get there, 1 hour to get back, 2 hours there. In my opinion, 2 is the same as 2. So, yeah. I mean, it was a fun company to do an internship at. A little bit messy due to change in ownership. That became a mess. Like the main things were talked through, but not like where and with who do we order soup. Like that hadn't been decided yet.
Okay.
Which for a company is kind of dumb. Because well, you're a company, you know your employees are gonna want soup. But apparently they didn't realize, we didn't know where to order that. Eventually we figured it out, figured out the person with the contact. But another couple of those things, eventually we got new people. Those helped a lot more. And now I'm gone as well there, because there was no use for me there anymore. Why would I remain at a company where all I'm doing is nothing?
Yeah.
Which I was kind of doing anyway, but I never really gotten a complaint from them. That's a funny bit. I didn't even get a complaint about it. Well, apart from like one person that kind of figured out something was up with me a little bit, because it's just distracted for most of the time. Because well, the reason I got out of my kind of traumatic environment was because of a divorce.
I was about to say, like, was there more about trauma? Because you said it would take a while, but we didn't really talk about it for that long.
There's more.
Yeah, okay.
The reason I got out of my situation was because of divorce, which kind of gives away more of the family member that was causing it.
You already mentioned who caused it.
Yeah. But that is also, I think, one of the things with trauma, like memory. Because like your body does have like a fight or flight response, right? It can get into that mode where it's like, right, it's fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in a traumatic environment, you are constantly in that fight or flight mode, which does take a toll on your body, because your body is not supposed to be in fight or flight for, in my case, 20 years. Bodies are not made for that. So that does damage. But of course, the person giving you the trauma doesn't realize that. Like I had a call with my dad today that was just about the same useless thing we always talk about, which is school, cars, and when you'll be here again, because he is sadly the only one I can basically work on cars with. Although one funny thing is, he is a lot more careful around us. Like, it is funny to watch how a family member that used to kind of be an asshole towards you suddenly becomes nice when they have a risk of losing contact with you. It does happen that my dad moved to Spain, but I digress. Like literally running away from the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's more of a behavior, like avoiding things. But no, he did it physically. By moving across Europe. See, that's basically what our conversations are always about, the same bullshit. I realize it's starting to become more of a trauma dump by the second.
What else did you want this to be?
it's still about trauma, so
You're
I said it would take a while.
we we are not therapists. We are if you wanted to give advice on it, you are not qualified.
I am experienced.
I guess so. I did research. We are
Well, I
qualified.
also did
We are unofficially
proper
qualified.
research. You went for the research. I experienced the research.
Yeah.
No, not really. I got it gifted.
I can talk to you for my story. In fact, I might contact a therapist to see if they can help me with the story. They just like an interview.
Like an interview with. What can I be with an interview as well? Because it would probably be pretty good for me as well to just be there.
No, because
Oh.
it's not like a session.
No, but it's still learning about stuff, and
How do you
can always learn.
Yeah, I guess so. How do you interview, like, because obviously they're not allowed to talk about their clients unless they have permission.
Yeah, no, they have client.
And I wouldn't ask
confidentiality.
them to talk about that either because that's rude.
Yes.
I guess I would have to just present them examples of like, hey, this is what I wrote. How would you deal with that?
I mean, you could do that. It will probably cost money because, well, you're spending their time.
Oh, yeah.
So there's probably compensation for that, unless you have a friend that does therapy.
I don't know. It depends. I wouldn't do it during their work hours because I know that they are very busy at the moment.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly a lot of people need therapy. Well, first of all, they probably already needed it, but it just kind of was. I guess it's also a little bit of a taboo still, like going to therapy.
How is that a taboo?
Well, especially for like men, it can be seen as a possible sign of weakness, which which I don't know why it would be, but apparently it is. And apparently that's bad. So you have that as a problem. But that does prevent a bunch of people from like going to therapy, which, as we established, is kind of important to do to get kind of either figure out your problems or solve the problem. Of course, you're not going to be coming with a quick solution. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, just do this, boom, your trauma's gone, magic. Because if that were be true, then therapy sessions would either be way more expensive per session because you'd only need one of them instead of an entire like weeks, if not months.
Yeah.
Depending on how bad it is.
It can be years.
Yeah.
If at all.
It depends on how. Yeah, yay, lifelong therapy. You might as well then find a partner who is a therapist, because that would save you a lot more money.
Maybe.
Because you could just use your partner. I just realized how wrong that could possibly sound. But then again, I have the ability to take everything out of context. Like, you apply context, I'll remove it and then start laughing about it because it is funny.
Anyway, was there more? Because I do kind of really want to go to bed, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh yeah, you still have to wake up early tomorrow, don't you?
Yes.
I don't. Because they didn't have any more work for me, so it's kind of
yeah.
So it's just me ready to celebrate like 8 weeks of vacation. But yeah, I guess if you do need to go to sleep, it would possibly be time to wrap this up.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
1.5 hours.
I don't know if you add more about it because I do
Well,
think it's an interesting conversation.
not
I mean, we do keep getting off topic,
really.
but
Yeah, but it is
that was the
basically, like,
point of the podcast anyway.
just start with one topic. It goes off topic.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if you're in a bad situation and you don't realize it, as soon as you get out of that situation, you've kind of fallen into a hole where just having to get your bearings again because, well, you now have to figure everything out. You realize you were in a situation, you have to solve the problem of it with or without a therapist, depending on what you want to do. Getting a therapist is probably a recommendation because they are qualified to help you, hopefully. And from what I've heard with people that actually went to therapy, like, it is not, going to one therapist is not an immediate solution.
No, it's
because
not.
one therapist might not be able to help you.
No.
Which means you now have to go through 4 or 5 therapists maybe, which isn't going to be easy either. Because, well, now you're going to have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, again, another one, more of them, just to find one that suits you.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, and you also figure out that you need to put yourself in front, need to give more attention to yourself at some point instead of, being ready for others. That's what I'm realizing as well. As I said before, I realize I can just do stuff on my own. I don't need confirmation from others. You don't need, like, your parents to give you permission to do that. I can still remember the first time. Like, I went to a hotel with a friend because there was a sale. She said, well, it's like, well, let's plan. And so I went down and asked my parents. I still do that, but that's more of a confirmation to make sure that there isn't already an appointment made for that day. I have at some point almost decided to go to a hotel on King's Day. When we were going to actually sell stuff, so that's more of a confirmation, so I don't do stupid things. But when I asked my parents for the first time, my mom and my dad said, "We're gonna have to let you go at some point." And after that, like, we started making a joke that in order to let something go, you have to actually hold on to it. And that kind of says something about my dad as well.
Yeah.
Where we're going to let you guys go at some point. Yeah, if you actually interacted with us more, then that would be more true, yes. But in this scenario, it wasn't true, so here right now I'm figuring out, well, I can just go somewhere. Like, sure, you might have to tell some people that are otherwise going to be worried about you, aka parents or one parent, just to make sure that they know that you are going somewhere before they realize you're not home, and then get concerned and panic because, well, you're gone all of a sudden. Just like, oh, I'm going somewhere. But more importantly, in my scenario is, are you going to be home by dinner? Because then we know for how many people we have to make dinner. Because making dinner for three is a lot more different than making dinner for 2 for some reason.
Yeah.
Because if you're just with 2 people, it becomes a lot more personal because you're one-on-one instead of a group. And second of all, I guess you can still make the same food, but you just eat it for 2 days. Or have way more leftovers. And I'm still realizing I can actually just do stuff. Like, you can just... Like, that is a very foreign concept to me, which is kind of weird to talk or think about. Like, the fact that, first of all, I'm an adult. Second of all, I can just do things.
Yeah.
Like, I can just go out and do stuff. And I don't need permission from somebody. Just confirmation of what I'm going to be doing, possibly, or where I'm going, and if I'm going to be home for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But that is, I guess, with some people that have similar trauma, that can also be a thing. Where you're figuring that out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can just spend an entire day going by train on your own. Like you can do stuff on your own. You don't need other people to go with you. And that sounds, now that I said, that sounds very childish. Very childlike. Oh yeah, a child needs somebody company. For most of my life, somebody has gone with me, probably because of my arm as well. Because I tend to do dumb shit. I only have a slight tendency to do very, very dumb shit.
Yeah.
Which as a kid meant that I could easily hurt myself by just, you know, doing things. And yeah, I guess that results in in the end, it just results in who you are.
Yep.
And people have to accept you for who you are. Of course, with limitations. If you decide to be a total asshole, you do deserve to be, you do deserve to be, like, spoken to by people, or just, you know, nudged in a little bit more of a friendly direction. Because, as I said, there are limitations.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably at some point sleep as well.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap up.
Because that's the thing as well. After you've been in a stressful situation for a while, after you're out of it, you just get tired.
Yes.
Your body realizes we can relax now.
Yes.
Even though it's like 2 p.m. and you still have like half the day in front of you, and your body is like,
yeah.
Windows shutdown sound. Just done. Yeah. I guess
check the links.
My body...
Check the links in the description. We
follow, like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
Feedback is always welcome. Maybe if you want to hear us rant about some specific topics, or just want our opinion on something, or have a game you want to see in the background. For those who listen to podcasts,
and
don't have video, we have a monitor in the background that we use that is kind of playing a game.
Yeah,
where one of us is playing, actually.
Our Lotacho.
Yes.
Lotacho 350 Premium Edition. High class HD 4K.
Yes.
And Knuckles screen.
Yes, just... It almost sounds like an AliExpress description.
Kind of. Anyway.
They tend to add the same thing over and over again with just different wording just to make it sound better. But yeah, I guess time to wrap up.
Yep. Bye.
My body wants sleep, so I guess I should give it to it.
Yeah.
So we'll see everybody next week with more bullshit.
Yep.
We're not... I guess I have a good way to end this. We're not experts. But we're here.
Yeah, no, we were here. We were here.
Oh yeah, we were here.
We'll be here next week.
Yes, but we're still not experts.
No.
But we will be here next week.
Yeah, for better or worse. Well.
Yes.
Bye.
I guess goodbye.